Good afternoon and welcome to our weekly field hockey chat with head coach Char Morett-Curtiss. Char, thank you for joining us again. Got a busy Big Ten road weekend ahead of us. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. It's exciting to get back into Big Ten play. You just sort of get the momentum when you start playing, your conference teams, and to take a break, I'd rather just keep playing the conference teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's talk about last weekend first before we move into the conference games. Played real well Friday night. Good win against a good Lafayette team. And then we lost a heartbreaker on Sunday against a very good Princeton team. Put the past weekend in context for us.
Yeah, I thought the Lafayette game, I really loved our pace. I loved our energy before the game started. I just see this team growing so much. I talk a lot about their connectedness, but really just their trust in each other, their confidence in each other, their fun with each other. They're a great group to be around. They've just got that team spirit about them. So really took that on the road against Lafayette, came out strong. Their goalie played well, couldn't really get through, obviously into the scoring column until later in the game, but just was really impressed with the way we moved the ball from side to side. The center mids, Elena and Mac, got really involved in doing some great transitional play. Thought the backs were attacking as well, and had some really good opportunities, but just to connect until the very closer to the end of the game in the fourth quarter. But I really am pleased with our development as an attacking team. Really pleased with everyone getting involved and being a part of the attack. On the flip side of that, we really need to do a much better job on the defensive side of the ball. Felt that we gave Princeton too many easy looks into the circle, and that really obviously resulted in those 2 goals against us. But the comeback that our team had in the last minute of that game was just outstanding. I mean, to score a goal with 6 seconds left in the game, they just put their, minds set on let's keep attacking and taking advantage of the ball being in the circle, getting a corner, quickly getting restarts taken, and, just watching Mac, do her 6 skills towards the cage and finish with great composure. It was a amazing comeback moment, and sadly to be, disappointed probably like 6-7 minutes later.
Right. I think the excellence that Max showed in that goal gets overshadowed by the fact that we lost in overtime. You just can't, Mackenzie Alessia is one of the best offensive field hockey players in the country, hands down. And at Ohio State, she was asked to do everything, right? Here, she's part of a larger unit where she's fitting wonderfully into a system. And sometimes you forget about those skills. Mm-hmm. See them. And then it ends with that loss. It was hard, but we see who she is and what she does, and it's fun to watch.
Correct. Spot on with her. She is a very humble team player.
Yep.
And she really does enjoy looking to set up the other players. Sometimes I'm like, Mac, you've got to go. You've got to get the goal yourself at times. And obviously we saw that competitiveness in her come out on Sunday, and I think that it's gonna hopefully show this weekend as well.
So let's talk about 2 games this week. On the road, we are at Ohio State Friday, 3 p.m., Michigan State Sunday, 2 p.m. Both games, Big Ten Network national telecast. So everyone, all of our alumni and friends and family across the country and the world will be able to watch the games. Let's talk a little bit about Ohio State. Very good team, ranked 21st. They're 1-4 in the Big Ten. Well, the Big Ten is brutal. I mean, it's hard to. So, and they've been in so many of those games. Let's talk about the Buckeyes and what you are looking to see from them Friday.
Right. Well, Jared Martin's done an outstanding job with the Buckeyes ever since he took over there, and very, very balanced team. Watching them play, I've seen their Northwestern game, their Iowa game, a little bit of their Indiana's game as well. And they just keep great structure. They're just very consistent in moving the ball patterns going up the field. They've got Sarah Charlie, who's very dangerous in the attacking circle. Solid defensive game. They have played 2 different goalies in the past couple weeks, so it's interesting to see. They went from the one player can't remember her name, to Abby Danson has been playing the past couple games. Both goalies, in my mind, very talented, very tough to beat. So obviously, he feels comfortable with either one, but it's going to be a full 60-minute game. Iowa beat them on Sunday. All their goals came in the last 10 minutes of the game. Michigan, they took Michigan to 1-0. So it's not a team that they don't give up a lot of goals, when you look at them, but same time, hopefully we can keep our defensive structure a little bit tighter this time around.
And then the Spartans on Sunday. Michigan State is always a hard team to play. They're always prepared, and we're playing up on their field in East Lansing, fourth game in a row on the road for us. So what do you tell your team to look for from Michigan State, and what are your concerns as a coach rounding out a long road trip?
Right. Just, a great point of playing two teams on the road. It's coming down to the end of the conference. Everybody's fighting for position and a place in the conference tournament. So we fully recognize that. Michigan State is a team that can really catch it in transition. They have some very, very fast midfielders. If that ball gets turned over, next thing you know, it's going to be in the circle. They execute extremely well on corners. So want to try to minimize that factor. I would also say their outletting piece, they can really move the ball around the backfield and get it into the midfield area. They're just a solid team coming out of their backfield. So, we have to make sure that, again, we keep concentrating on our transition game, our speed, getting a little stingier on defense. They're the focuses for our practices this week.
Right. And then, we're going to be bringing in a young lady now from Australia when you're done, Jemma Punch. Jemma came here, made an impact right away as a freshman. Last year with the season kind of being canceled, before the season was canceled in the fall, there was an assumption she may not play next year. She was going to redshirt. Then they moved the season to the spring, and she comes in and she kind of gets back into playing status, and she plays. About Jemma Punch, the player, and kind of the process she's had to go through over the last 18 months of staying active and ready to go.
Right. Well, Australia put in some very tight COVID restrictions with quarantining when you returned to Australia. So when COVID hit that 2020 spring season, she sort of hung here for a little bit, stayed in Virginia Beach with one of our other players' families. And when she got back to Australia, she spent 2 weeks in quarantine in a hotel. Yeah. At that time, the Australian government funded that experience. Coming back in, the fall, we weren't sure we were going to have a season. Is that something that we wanted to take the risk on with Jemma? Same thing. She had to go back. This time it was going to be on her dime. Just a lot of financial factors to think about as well. What type of quality season were we going to have? So we just thought this might be in Jemma's best interest to, stay in Australia. And she was taking classes online just like every other student, whether they were on campus or not.
Right.
So we were so excited when the season did get moved to the spring with the conference tournament, with the NCAA tournament. So we're, again, really thrilled that Jemma was going to make the trip to come back to Happy Valley. We all miss her. It's very difficult when you're going through team Zooms, and it may be, it's Monday here, but it's Tuesday there. And, you forget that not only is there a time change, there's actually like a day change.
Right.
So her coming back definitely was a big plus for us in the spring. And then her coming back in the fall, she is a very skillful player. One of the things we were very impressed with Jemma is her speed. One of the clips she sent us when we were recruiting her was Jemma playing rugby, and a girl ended up getting the ball. Well, Jemma tracked her down from behind and full-fledged flying tackle from behind. And I want that mentality on my team. I want that mentality. As Jemma's come on to our team, she really relies a lot on her skills, but I really would like for her to rely on her speed a little bit more often. So she'll try to set the defender up. It's like, Jemma, you honestly can just run right by them. Yeah. So use your skills when it's really a little bit more necessary, but She's a pleasure to have on the field. She's got a very high field hockey IQ. She has a good sense of humor. She's very positive and happy person when you see her. So she's been a delight to coach.
Yeah, and you can see that speed and that attitude on the field. You see flashes of the speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, those fast breaks, and she'll do what you ask, right? She'll
Right.
kind of blow by people, but you see the attitude on when she's on the field. There is just energy follows her
Right.
around, and she moves the energy around with her. And boy, when she gets both those things clicking, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So looking forward to talking to her here in a
Yeah.
second. So, well, Char, thank you. I know this is it's a 2-week road trip. I know you're kind of in and out. We got a lot to get for, and we're leaving Thursday.
Correct.
So I want to thank you for joining us, and looking forward to talking to you Friday after a big game against the Buckeyes.
Sounds good. My pleasure. Like to see my friends Ed and Karen in the audience.
Nice. All right. Thanks, Char. And welcome back. We'd like to welcome junior Jemma Punch to our Zoom this week. Jemma, thanks for joining us before practice. Appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
So talk a little bit about how this season's been going before we get into what this last 18 months has been like for you. I just talk about this season specifically. You know, we are rolling. We've got some good wins. We've had some tough losses, been competitive in even the games we've lost. How do you feel as a junior now in your third year that it's been going?
It's been going great, honestly. It's good to, be back to normal in regards to the past 18 months that we've had, as you said. But the season's been going great. We like to define our losses as learning moments. So even though each team would love to be out there and win every single game, if we didn't have these losses, then we wouldn't have opportunities to learn and better ourselves. So I think the season as a whole is just going great. Practice has been awesome. Everyone's willing to be flexible and learn as a whole. And we just have such a good team environment at the moment. So it's been amazing.
In your role on our offense, your speed is quite something to see when it flashes. And when do you realize in a game that this is the moment where I have to take advantage of my speed? What pops into your head?
So let's just say one of our midfielders, like Anna, I play on the right hand side with her a lot, gives me a really good ball, and then I make a good reception, and then I'm like, okay, it's time, jets on. I see the space, and I see the circle and I just see it as an opportunity to attack, I guess, and get that ball up the field as quickly as I can.
Right.
So basically just whenever I see a large amount of space ahead of me, I'm just jets on, basically.
And this year, we've got now a full kind of schedule of games, and our offense is a bit different this year because we've brought in Mackenzie. You're a year older. Sophia's a year older. Has our offense changed in your eyes? Certainly the structure of it.
So at the beginning of the season, we did start with a different structure, but it was more defensively, I would say, aimed at defense. We had 4 in the back instead of 3 at the back. Our structure in regards to striking has always just been 3 strikers and then almost definitely always the 2 midfields. But now, since we have Mac in that more attacking midfield opportunity instead of the defensive midfield opportunity, I feel like that just gives us another line of another way to be able to attack and bring the ball up the field, basically. And we also have great, similar people to last year, but we only had Abby and Hut leave. So it's just really good to have that depth, I guess, since so many people are still here from previous years.
Yeah, and consistency. You feel the consistency of knowing these people. You've been on the field with them, so that helps.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the last 18 months. It's been hard. And for you in particular, having to go back and forth in Australia, Char, we're talking, we thought last fall you were going to redshirt last year, and they moved the season to the spring, and all of a sudden Gemma's back and you can play. Talk about how you've emotionally and mentally just dealt with the oddness of the last 18 months for you specifically.
Yeah, well, I guess it all started back in spring, not spring just gone, spring the year before that, when COVID hit. And then we obviously went on spring break, couldn't come back to campus. I actually stayed in America and continued to study at one of the girls' houses. And then it came around to like May, classes were ending, and it was like, this might be my last opportunity to go home. So I had to decide whether I wanted to go home or stay here for the summer. I chose to go home. And then summer went by, and it had like, you know, the days were like going by really quickly. I had to make my decision on whether I was going to come back here, if the season was going to go ahead, because we had no idea at that point. And we didn't find out until after everybody had, like, the whole team had come back to campus, that the season was not going ahead. So I had to make a really tough decision of not coming back in the fall. It was really hard, but just because we do like 2 weeks of quarantine in a hotel back home. And I didn't want to like get stuck when it came to Christmas time. And then, like, especially because I was living in the dorms at that point. And so it was just really tough, but knowing that I had Char and like our whole coaching staff support, as well as my family's on like whatever decision I made, it just really helped me get through that tough time for sure. And then being able to come back in the spring was amazing. Like, not seeing all these girls for what had felt like been forever. I think it was like 8 or 9 months, was just crazy. Like, considering I had been with them for every day for a year almost before that. But yeah, definitely the coaching staff made it, and my family made the decision so much easier. They were very supportive, which was great. Yeah,
outstanding. It was a hard time, and obviously you came through it in flying colors. And it's just an interesting story because we think of, oh, geez, you know, this athlete coming from this state. Well, this is different.
Yeah.
Rules that each nation has are different, and you had to navigate those, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And now let's put field hockey aside. Let's talk a little bit about Jemma Punch, the person. What's your major?
I'm doing communications, so journalism, and minoring in business and administration.
Awesome. So now this is your 3rd academic year here.
Yes.
What if you're Jemma Punch 10 years down the road? What are you doing with that degree? What's kind of the goal right now, knowing that can change in 3 years? You were 10 years now.
I'm definitely a free soul, so I take every day as it comes.
So who knows then?
Yes, but I will most likely in 10 years' time be back in Australia, as much as I love being here. And I've looked at different career paths in regards to event planning, or something to do with being social and being around people, and just helping them, like whether it be events or like journalism, like getting information out there and like help spreading awareness of things. So I'm like not 100% sure on what specifically, but I have my eyes set on like that kind of broad topic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. And then questions related to the cultural differences between the 2 nations. What is one thing that you miss from Australia outside of your family?
Yeah.
What's one thing you miss from Australia when you're here in the States?
Oh, that's hard. Possibly it never snowing. And it's constantly, I want to say, very warm all year round. Like in the winter, I think we get down to the lowest of like 50, maybe 55 at nighttime. So during the day, it's still very warm. So I guess I miss being able to swim in my pool every single day.
Yeah, I can't do that here. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And so conversely, when you were back home, was there, and there doesn't have to be something, but was there something about the States that you missed when you were back home?
Definitely the opportunity, like the team. I miss you never get anything like this back home. There's nothing like studying as well as playing a sport and then doing that with the same similar group of girls for 4 years, and like having people come and go and making all these connections. I definitely missed just the whole team aspect. Like my family, they're basically my second family. Since I don't have my own family here. But so I definitely, I miss that team aspect and just having those people that I wake up to every day, live with, and go to lunch with, like do everything with, not just field hockey stuff, but day-to-day activities here. Yeah,
that's great. That's great. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jemma. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be watching. We're on the Big Ten Network twice this weekend. So watching. And good luck. And once again, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.